Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay. So let's continue. The next function or procurement unit is that they are to prepare contract documents. At any moment in time, when there's a procurement process and you're the one who will win the contract, they'll give you what's called the award letter. Yes, showing you, the contract amount, the items to be supplied, the timeline in which the contract is to be executed, and all that. So the procurement entities, they prepare contract documents, purchase orders in line with what? The contract award decision. Then they also assist with inspection and acceptance of goods, works, and service. Yes, let's assume they were asked to supply laptops, or they were asked to supply plumbing items, washroom items, inspection and what? Acceptance of goods, works, and service. If it has to be service, there is usually something we call a completion report. That after they have done servicing, let's say your AC or whatever, the one in charge will go and check them. So whether the items have been supplied with the right quantities, right specification, no breakages, everything. So as inspection and acceptance of those things, they assist in all those. Then they prepare and issue a tender rejection and tender debriefing letters. Tender debriefing letters. So please pay attention that this could form part of a question for, let's say, 5 marks, 3 marks, or whatever marks. When you get, you are few marks away from being called a chartered accountant. Now, let's go up there and go and check the next procurement structure. Tender what? Committee. So we are going to look at tender committee. Tender committee. Tender committee. What do they do? These people, in fact, they are a body within an entity with a responsibility for what? Planning. So they are responsible for planning, processing, and generally making procurement decision and ensuring compliance with the law. Ensuring compliance with the law and other guidelines. Yes, that's what they do. They are responsible for planning, processing, and generally making procurement decision and ensuring compliance with the law. So these people are like, can we say, an internal audit in procurement? Anthony, can we say that?
Yes, they can.
We are saying they are responsible for what? Planning, processing, and generally making procurement decision and ensuring compliance with the law and guidelines. So each procurement entity is also required to establish a tender what? Committee And the head of the entity will chair this committee. What are their functions? Tender committee. What are their functions? Tender committee. What are their functions? In fact, knowing all the procurement structures and their functions is very, very important. Don't forget. 1, they review procurement plans and ensure connection with the objectives, OBJ, and operations of the entity. Yes. Review procurement plans and ensure connection with the objective and operation of the entity. I don't see a reason why an entity like Kimbu SHS will want to go and procure let me say, something that doesn't align with the objectives why Kimbu SHS was set up. If you are procuring monodex, that is fine. If you are procuring stationery, that is fine. But the moment you begin to go and procure in items meant for babies, mother care items, then it means your procurement plans are not in connection with the objective and your operations. 2, they approve cost of items in the plan. Now, very soon we'll be looking at a procurement plan and what goes into a procurement plan or the content of a procurement plan. So their second function is to approve cost of items. Approve cost of items in the plan and ensure they fit into budget amount. And ensure they fit into budget amount. Yes, don't forget, before you might have procured something, there might have been a budget for it. You don't go outside the budget for whatever reason. Oh, wow. I realize that there are only 2 people in the meeting. That was very interesting. Or the people, their data is finished.
Maybe
or they
data
have
is finished.
poor internet connection.
No, their data is finished. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Anthony, how did you know?
Gladys, I can't hear you.
How did
Okay, I think
Anthony, how did you
Anthony, Gladys is asking. So, Gladys, I think you go with me for my second reason. They have a poor internet connection, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes. So, Anthony, it means Gladys.
Yes.
So, Anthony, please, you are lying. We're not going to take your reason. All right. The third issue has to do with that they review procurement schedules. They review what? Procurement schedules and ensure compliance with the law. Now, when we say procurement schedule, you see, for the year, the entity will have a procurement plan and there will be a schedule when this one will be bought. This one will be bought in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, in that order. And even if this is bought, 50% will be paid this. The next percent will be paid in 2 months' time. Yeah, that's like a schedule. Is that all right? So that's what the people do. Okay.
Yes.
Also facilitate contract admin and ensure compliance with all reporting requirements. So they facilitate contract administration. Okay, Anthony, you have a question? Anthony?
Sir, I was saying that your line was interrupted, but it is okay now.
Okay, oh, okay. So I'm saying they facilitate contract
Sir,
administration.
please, sir, please,
Hey, Gladys, I can't hear you.
hello, sir.
I can hear you now.
Yes, please. Yeah, I wanted to know if the tender committee is the same as entity committee. Is it the same?
Yes, yes, yes,
Hello.
yes. Gladys, that is
It's
yes.
the same. They are the
Right.
same people.
Yes, please. Yes,
Okay.
please. Thank you for your question. Okay. Then the next one has to do with that. These people ensure that stores,
Yes.
stores and equipment. Hey, that is the line.
Your line is not good at all.
Yeah, Anthony, I think that Gladys' line is very bad.
Yes, I can hear that the line is not.
Yes. Anthony, your
Smooth.
connection is very better. So Gladys, if you can, I don't know, reposition yourself and ask your question. But to continue, the tender committee ensure that stores and equipment are disposed of according to the law. Now, in the public sector, if some items are not in good shape, let's say vehicle or whatever equipment, and those things are to be destroyed, you don't just get up and go and destroy it just like that. There's something we call board of survey, and it must be done properly. We call it disposal of government stores. Okay. So that is for tender committee. Let's look at tender evaluation panel, being the last of our procurement structures. Tender evaluation panel. Tender evaluation panel. What do they do? These people, yes, they are an expert group. They are what? An expert.
An expert group.
Yes. They are an expert group. They are an expert group appointed by the entity to evaluate tenders and assess the tender committee in its works. You see, Anthony, sometimes
yes, sir,
some of the procurement of the things the entity is going to procure, they have no knowledge in that thing. Let's say it's a very specialized area and a very technical area. So let's say, Kimbu, you want to go and procure something specialized and technical. Your staff people in your IT department do not have that knowledge to know that if people submit their bid, the specification, whether they are okay, in this case, you need what? An expert.
Expert.
Who is not normally one of your staff. But these people have expert knowledge for them to evaluate and examine whatever the bidders or suppliers are presenting and advise you on what to do. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this panel uses the predetermined and published evaluation criteria. Yes. So they use predetermined standard and other criteria in doing their works. to ensure they meet specification and international standards. That's what the tender evaluation panel does. Now,
Okay.
just as there are procurement principles, there are procurement rules, and we need to know them. Procurement rules. What are the rules of procurement? Before coming to this topic, I mentioned it, that an entity must have a procurement plan. So the first rule is that an entity must have a procurement plan. Now, what is a procurement plan? A procurement plan is just a document. It's a document prepared by a procurement entity indicating procurement contract packages, estimated cost for each contract package, procurement method for the contract. Very soon we look at procurement methods, and the processing steps and their execution timelines. Execution timeline, yes. So a procurement plan starts with what? Sorry, yes, start with, or is a document. The procurement rules are that an entity must have a procurement plan. Okay. And this procurement plan is a document prepared by a procurement entity indicating procurement contract package. Yes. What do you want to procure, or what do you want to acquire? What is the estimated cost you are willing to pay for each contract package? What are the methods? We look at the method pretty shortly. What are the steps that suppliers must follow? What are the execution timelines? When do you want this contract to be done? Do you need a 4-unit classroom block? Do you need 400 pieces of laptops? All these things will be in the procurement plan. And so every procurement entity is required to prepare a procurement plan. Is that okay? For the year. This plan must be submitted to the tender committee 1 month before the current year ends. It's very, very important. And then again, the procurement plan beyond the threshold should and must be submitted to the relevant tender review board for publication in the public procurement bulletin. Now, let's look at the content of a procurement plan. What goes into it? Content of a procurement plan. So we are going to look at it. They are itemized. So we are going to look at the itemized things that goes into a procurement plan. A detailed breakdown. Yes, one. A detailed breakdown of the goods, works, and service required. Two, a schedule of the delivery. A schedule of the delivery implementation or completion dates. If you realize these things are even the definition for all goods, works, and services required. Yes. The source of funding. Yes. The source of funding, whether it's IGF or donor funding. The source of funding, an indication of any item that are aggregated for procurement, an estimate of value of each package of goods, an estimate of the value of each package of goods, works, and service. Yes. Then we also have details of any committed or planned procurement expenditure under existing multi-year contract. Multi-year contract. Yes. They can ask you, what is a procurement plan? And mention 5 contents of a procurement plan. They can ask you an example. Okay. Then, having on the content, they can also ask you, what are the reasons for preparing a procurement plan? Reasons for preparing a procurement plan. 1, prioritization. Yes. Prioritization of procurement needs of an entity. Yes, that's the reason. So that those that are needed or pressing to be acquired now, prioritization of procurement needs of procurement entities. Of procurement entities. 2, it allows the private sector to respond more effectively. Allows private sector to respond more effectively to the requirements of the public sector. Now, you realize that the private sector are key players in the procurement process because a government entity cannot award a contract to a government entity. Then there will be no payment, isn't it? Non-exchange transactions. So because most of the procurement process, it is the private sector that takes part. If you don't make a procurement plan and let them know how to also schedule their activities and their operation, then they will always disappoint you. So it allows the private sector to respond more effectively to the requirement and specification of what public sector needs. Aggregation of procurement needs into a larger purchase. Aggregation of procurement need into a larger purchase at lower unit cost. Now, let me explain this. Let's say you have Minister of Education, and all the regions, everybody wants to go and procure or source for their own textbooks from different suppliers. You see, when it happens like that, all the different Ministry of Education units in the country will be getting it at different prices, which averagely or cumulatively will be at a higher unit cost. But if Ministry of Education goes as one unit to procure on all of them their behalf, don't you think they are going to get these books or stationery at a lower unit cost, Anthony?
Say they will.
So
they will even enjoy trade discount.
Thank you. They will even enjoy trade discount. So when there's a procurement plan and the plan is stated, we know that all of us, this ministry, we are going to procure or source this thing from this supplier. Then we are going to get trade discount than individuals going to do the procurement on their own, which will cost very much and not ensure value for money.
For money.
Yes. So these are some of the reasons for preparing a procurement plan. Now, let's look at one important thing: qualification of a tenderer. Qualification of a tenderer. When we say a tenderer, it means the suppliers, the private sector, who engage in procurement activities in order to supply the public sector procurement entities with their needs. Yes. So you see, if you're a private sector, before you qualify to engage in a procurement process, there are certain criteria you must meet, as do not give you the contract sum. You will never enjoy government contract. You have to meet certain criteria before you'll be given or awarded a contract. So a tenderer qualifies to participate in public procurement when one has the required resource capacity, has the required resource capacity, has the required...
Please have a small question.
Say again.
I have a small question.
Go ahead.
Please, can you go back to explain the aggregation of pro needs into larger punch at a lower cost? Thank you.
Anthony, help us.
Sir was saying that if a single entity is, say, make an example that if maybe a Ministry of Education is going to purchase a book and then a single entity goes, they will have it as a higher unit as compared to the Ministry of Education going to purchase those books or those stationery for the schools. So with that, and I even said that with that they can even enjoy trade discount as matter of buying it in bulk or going to purchase for the schools across board as compared to individual schools, maybe Kimbu going there, Supercell going there, Aquinas going there to purchase. They will not enjoy what's called maybe a lower unit cost of what purchases. So that's what that aggregation of pro need into the larger purchase at lower unit cost means. I hope if I can make I've made that clear.
Is it clear?
Not really.
Oh, okay. So let me explain. Lizzie, what I mean is aggregation of procurement need into a larger purchase at lower unit cost. Meaning that if you have planned your procurement process very well, the various procurement entities within let's say a central tender review board, ministerial, regional, or district level, if you have planned your procurement very well, your sub-units will not go about buying the same thing that you all need at different unit prices. Now, if the ministry goes as a ministry, buying everything in bulk, in large quantities, they are going to, one, get discounts, two, even buy it at a lower unit cost than individuals going to do procurements on their own. So you remember, let's
Okay.
say Ghana.
I understand. I can get what the example he gave. I get it. What you are saying, it makes sense.
Okay.
It makes sense.
So let's say
Yeah.
Ghana.
Thank you so much.
We need buses for all the SHS. Okay. Then we ask all headmasters to go and purchase their own buses. How is that going to be when the government of Ghana itself contract a company in Japan or China to produce, let's say, 5,000 buses? Don't you think the government would get it at a unit price lower than if all SHS heads of institutions are asked to go and buy on their own?
Yes.
So can I proceed, please?
Yes, please. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is a qualification of a tender is that before you be allowed to participate in a procurement process, you have to have the required resource capacity and technical and professional competence to do the work. We are not, if you check, in fact, certain things are technical that you can't do family and friends and give them, they'll do a poor work. So whoever we are giving a contract to, you have to make sure the person is qualified, have the technical and professional competence to perform that contract very well. 2, has the legal capacity to contract. Yes. In fact, you have a company. You haven't registered the company with Registrar General. No, you are going to bid for government contract. It doesn't work that way. You need to register the company, and the company becomes a legal entity and can be sealed and can seal and be sealed. That's what you have legal capacity to contract. Now, that entity might be what? Solvent. Solvent means evidence of going concern. Evidence of going concern, meaning that the company is not going to collapse in the near future or foreseeable future. That's why some of these contracts, when you are going to bid, they ask for your financials to do some calculations and see how solvent the company is. 2, has fulfilled its obligation to pay taxes. Has fulfilled its obligations to pay taxes, SNIT, contribution for its workers. For its workers. All directors have filed their returns to date. Then the last one is meets other entity specific rules. Let me explain the last one. Meet other entity specific rules. You know, there are some entities that are regulated. Let's say if you're a microfinance, do you have a license to operate? If you are a mining company, do you have a license? So before we give you the contract, in fact, we look at those things. If you are engaged in a waste processing, do you have license from Environmental Protection Agency? If you want to set up filling station, do you have those clearances from Petroleum Commission and those people? These are entity-specific rules. May not apply to everybody or any entities. All directors have filed their returns to date. They will ask you to go for what? SNIT clearance, then tax clearance to ensure you are tax compliant, because the contract we are going to be awarded, we are going to use taxpayers' money to what? Pay you. So you must have paid all your taxes before we will award you the contract. So these are the qualifications a supplier or a tenderer must meet before contract will be awarded to you. Let's look at methods of public procurement. I mentioned earlier that we will look at methods of public procurement. This one too is very much and comes in the exams. Methods of public procurement. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yes, I have a question. I said, please, with the tender qualification, I want to ask that if maybe a person don't have a director, don't have workers, can that person compete for that contract?
Now, is that thing a company or a sole proprietor?
Maybe say you have a company, but you don't have worker. You don't have a worker.
No, if you have a company and you don't have a worker, how do you intend to execute the contract then? I get him, Anthony. You are a company, you don't have workers, and you are going to bid for a contract. It means you don't meet the first one, has the required resource capacity and technical and professional competence to perform the contract. So it means you don't meet the first requirement. Anthony, do you agree with me?
All right.
Yes. It means you don't meet the first requirement.
Hello, I think
because I know, sir, let me come in. Sir, because I know a friend who supply, I think, a water dispenser for ministry, one of the ministries. And the person, you don't have a company, you don't have like more director. He's like more like a super partnership. And he has given the contract.
Let's be clear, whether it's a super partnership or a company. We know super partnership. The owner is the worker, and at the same time is the owner.
All right.
Okay, please. Right. The meeting will end in 1 minute. When it ends, we'll join it for the last time.